Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Minority rejects proposed exemptions to the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, describing the amendment as, quote, not fit for purpose, unquote. Also on the program this afternoon, President John Mahama assures international investors of infrastructure boost to transforming Ghana's economy at the ongoing Ghana-UK Investment Summit. And much later on the program, campaign manager Dr. Bawumia dissociates the NPP flag bearer from ongoing disagreement over delegate album in the Ashanti region. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. The Minority Caucus in Parliament has once again accused the governing National Democratic Congress of weakening the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill through an extensive amendment before its passage by Parliament last week Friday. At a media briefing in Parliament a while ago, the Member of Parliament for Asin South, Reverend John Intim-Fojo, questioned why a bill the NDC previously urged former President Nana Adu Akufo-Addo to assent to has now been significantly altered under President John Mahama.
It's a major betrayal and which is an unpardonable, unconscionable attempt by the NDC to scam all of Ghanaians. Let's look at Clause 9. Amendment proposed. Add the following new sub-clause. What does that mean? This wasn't in the old bill. The old bill, they said, sign a bill, sign a bill. We will come and sign a bill. This was not in. They wanted to smuggle this in. And for the record, this was never discussed at the committee. This was never discussed at consideration when the sponsors met the committee. And for the media, you are the same people. We knew well that these people, you can't trust them. These NDC government, you can't trust them. They promise one thing and they fail and do another thing. They are scam government, you can't trust them. So let us do the consideration. When we met at the committee, we went at Fiesa Royal and we carried you along with the live telecast. Please, can any media house show me a clip where under those considerations we agreed to or considered and accepted that there should be exemption created for certain categories of people and given the free pass to promote activities that engender, advocate for, and incentivize LGBT activities, and such people should be made to stand above the law. Who is above the law in this country?
And you had the Member of Parliament for Asin South, Reverend John Intim-Fojo. He's also a member of the Minority Caucus in Parliament. Let's speak to Evelyn Tingma, who monitored that press conference for us. Evelyn, what more can you report from the minority?
So, Beatrice, what basically the minority is saying that the bill that was passed on Friday is basically empty and it is a dangerous one. And because they are saying that the bill that was passed in 2024 and that the NDC minority then were asking President Akufo-Addo to sign it, and that same bill has not been presented to the president. And they think that that particular bill that was passed in 2024 should have been the one that should have been given to President Mahama to sign. And so for them to have introduced new amendments, and that is not acceptable. And so they are indicating that 22 amendments were deleted from the current bill, and then 31 of them 31 amendment was introduced. And so they think that that is not the right thing to do. And so they are basically asking that this bill is not the best and the president should not be signing this particular bill. We should.
Evelyn, so beyond this, what is scheduled to happen in the House today?
Yeah, so the House is yet to sit during the press conference and as to whether the minority will go to court to stop the president from signing this bill. But Intim Fojo, who addressed the media, was not forthcoming with that information. And so they are just basically saying that this is not a bill that the president should sign, but they are not categorical as to what they would do going forward.
All right, thank you very much, Evelyn Tima. She's our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent. Now, Parliament on Friday, as I just told you, the 29th of May, passed what is fast becoming a controversial human sexual rights and family values bill. But the dust is yet to settle. Critics continue to question the key amendments made to the Budget 2024 bill and what significant changes may have been occasioned by the current Parliament in the new legislation, and we'll bring you more of that later. Now, private commercial transport operators in Ghana have announced a 20% increase in public transport fares effective today, the 2nd of June. Actually, tomorrow, the 2nd of June, the operators cite rising fuel prices and the escalating cost of vehicle spare parts as reasons for their demands. They say prices of critical vehicle components and consumables, including tires, engine oil, batteries, and other spare parts, have recorded significant increases in recent months, further worsening financial challenges the sector is faced with. The new fares, they said, will apply to all categories of public transport services, including intracity trotro operations, intercity transport, and shared taxi services nationwide. Let's speak to my colleague, Noble Crosby-Annan, who is standing by, really, to paint a picture for us what's happening across the stations. Crosby, what can you tell us as regards the anticipated increase in transport fares?
You come to the 37 taxi station here this afternoon. The drivers are telling me that the increase in fuel prices is not welcome at all. They're not pleased that the prices of fuel have increased as we speak, although marginally. However, they are saying that they are hopeful the 20% proposed increase from the GPRTU will take effect from tomorrow so that it cancels out this increment. According to them, they've been out there receiving end of very bad decisions against drivers and driver unions. So they are not pleased in any way. However, they welcome the 20%. Some wish that it was even higher.
Okay, and aside from that, so what should we expect that indeed tomorrow we should see a 20% increase?
Well, that's the conversation that is ongoing, and the GPRTU is telling us that they're still engaging with the Transport Ministry to know exactly what is happening.
Thank you very much, Noble Crosby-Annan. He's my colleague currently monitoring what's happening in transport stations ahead of the anticipated 20% hike in transport fares. Meanwhile, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, has downplayed any plans to increase transport fares by tomorrow, the 2nd of June. Godfred Abulbiri is General Secretary of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, and he spoke to us earlier.
The real issue is that the publication, if we look at it carefully, didn't have any particular officer who signed it. So, yes, we have all cited it. But GPSU as a body have not officially authorized that by Tuesday, 2nd June, fares will be adjusted up by 20%. No, we have not. What I can tell you for sure is that we are in talks with the Transport Minister. And until that negotiation table is completed, and then for that matter, a particular percentage margin is arrived at, then we would then write officially to our regions, and the regions would to draw that conclusion that by 2nd June we would go to review fares up by 20%.
And you had the General Secretary of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, Godfred Abulbiri. Now, President John Mahama has given his farmers assurances yet to international investors that Ghana is accelerating major investments in infrastructure as part of efforts to transform the economy and strengthen its position as a regional trade and investment hub. Speaking at the Ghana-UK Investment Summit in London, the President said that infrastructure remains a key pillar to the country's economic transformation agenda.
Infrastructure development remains central to our economic transformation agenda. Through the $10 billion 5-year Big Push infrastructure program, we're accelerating investments in roads, railways, ports, housing, transport corridors, and aviation infrastructure. We're modernizing key transport corridors, including the Eastern and Western corridors and the now iconic Accra-Kumasi Expressway. We're expanding airport infrastructure and pursuing the establishment of a new national airline to improve connectivity and facilitate trade, tourism, and exports between Ghana and major international markets, including, of course, the United Kingdom. We're also modernizing our ports and logistics systems to strengthen Ghana's position as the preferred trade and investment gateway to Africa. And Ghana's greatest competitive advantage is not only our resources or our location. Our greatest competitive advantage is our people.
And you heard there President John Mahama. Still on this, Ghana is expected to roll out a new cocoa purchasing and financing module by the end of June 2026, marking a major shift in the way the country's cocoa sector is funded and managed. The new framework will move away from the traditional syndicated loan system sourced from external lenders and instead focus on mobilizing domestic resources while promoting value addition within the cocoa industry. To support the transition, a new cocoa board bill is expected to be laid before Parliament in the coming weeks for consideration and passage. Speaking at the Ghana-UK Investment Conference in London, the Minister for Finance, Dr. Kasia Latoforsen, said the legislation will provide the legal framework for implementing the new structure. Dr. Latoforsen also said that the reforms represent a paradigm shift in cocoa financing and are expected to strengthen the sector's long-term sustainability while reducing reliance on external borrowing.
The transaction advisor that we contracted to put together the cocoa board new issuance have just submitted their report, and I think we are ready to issue the paper anytime soon. It's going to be commercial paper. Non-residents will be invited to participate, and we are not solely relying on Ghanaian banks. We rely also on pension funds and also on non-resident investors. We'll issue it 3 tranches. Tranche 1 will be able to cover up to 2 months of purchases. Tranche 2 will cover another 3 months of purchases, and tranche 3 will cover the rest of the season. We have structured it in such a way that the receivables will go into an escrow arrangement, and we'll use the same receivables to repay those facilities. We have structured it again in a way that we'll retire it within a period of 8 months. So 8 months, the debt will not exist, and the following season we'll reissue it. The old syndication served Ghana well for at least 33 years. Even though it provided liquidity to the central bank, to the Ghana Cocoa Board to be able to buy cocoa, it denied the country from value addition. And so we believe that we need to depart from the old structuring. And so this new structure will mean that since the cocoa is being purchased by our own resources, domestic bonds that the government of Ghana is working closely with the Cocoa Board, we'll be able to process a minimum of 50% of cocoa purchases locally. And so that is in place, and we are ready to launch. I'll be going to Parliament after the President approves and the Cabinet approves the new Cocoa Board bill to get a new Cocoa Board Act in place. I believe that that will be done, give and take, by the end of June. And so Cocoa Board will not only get new financing, but to be reformed completely. We want to ensure automatic pricing, just like we have in other countries where Cocoa Board will be able to buy cocoa beans from the farm gate at prices determined by international market, and the cocoa farmer will be guaranteed a minimum of 70% of whatever cocoa that they produce. And so the law is going to Parliament, and the structuring is going to be very special, and I'm sure investors will be willing to participate.
And you heard that the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiola Tofosin, will say a bit longer on this because the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Asiama, has assured that the central bank will not record a repeat of the losses posted in 2024, stressing that the tough monetary policy measures adopted were necessary to correct past policy missteps. Speaking at the Ghana-UK Investment Summit, he said the bank is now better positioned to address challenges in the real sector and respond effectively to emerging economic risks. Our correspondent Christian Yale is in London. He's covering the summit for us. He joins us live via video call. Chris, what explanation did the governor give for the losses, and really what measures the BOG is putting in place, as it were, to avoid a recurrence?
In fact, Beatrice, you know that over the period, one of the conversations, especially when you listen to the minority in Parliament, has been the losses posted by BOG in 2025, which they have always blamed on what they term as the over-sterilization of the economy, i.e. government pumping more money into, the economy. And so talking at the Ghana-UK summit at a panel discussion, Dr. Asiama indicated that last year, things were very tight for the central bank. So they needed to do what he terms as the heavy lifting so that they would take care of all those, past errors, as he termed them, or the policy errors in the past, so that they are able to take care of the future, deal with the real sector challenges and the rest. We can listen to him indicate that going forward, his assurance is that Ghana and the central bank will not repeat those losses because the past errors have been dealt with.
Many of the issues that we came to meet, we had already analyzed. We had developed solutions. And so immediately, you remember, we had to tighten monetary policy quickly. Why? Because there were some policy missteps the year before. And so inflation was still high. The exchange rate was still very volatile when we came in. So much liquidity had been injected since 2022. And so we spent last year draining that excess blood. No wonder you saw our financials, how much it costed us. But it was a necessary cost. We call it a reset cost. And we believe that based on where we are now, we can tackle the real sector problems. We've brought about stability. Most of the costs that we incurred last year will not be repeated this year. But last year was the heavy lifting. We did a number of things. We looked at the interbank forex market, for example. A lot of new guidelines were issued.
And you heard that the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Christian Yale, is still via video call with us. Chris, we understand the Governor also spoke about remittance inflows. What were the key remarks on that issue?
Beatrice, he indicated that over the past years, most of the remittances have been offshore. What it means is that the relevant benefit and inflows that the banking sector should receive would be off record. And so they have tackled that. He indicated that as of 2025, the remittance inflow is hovering around almost 8 billion Ghana cedis. We can listen to him again.
We don't have that yet, but Chris, what more can you tell us? We know the president is wrapping up his visit to the UK.
Exactly, and as part of that, he would, have a breakfast meeting with the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and then after that, there'll be a royal visit or royal audience with King Charles III. In fact, today, he has reassured the investor community that Ghana is back on track and Ghana is ready to do business. He has spoken at length about priority sectors, and as part of that, Ghana and UK today have signed a growth partnership deal, which is going to focus, as we know, on job creation and industrialization and the rest of them. So the summit itself is expected to wrap up around tomorrow, when the president yet again would conclude it as the keynote speaker. And then the assurance is that after Ghana has exited the IMF financial bailout and now doing the PCI, the investor community would have that reassurance to reinvest in Ghana and grow Ghana.
Thank you so much, Christian Yale, my colleague currently in London, covering the president's visit to that part of the world. Now, Middle Belt campaign coordinator for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Dr. Nana Ayew Afriye, has dismissed suggestions that the former vice president has any special interest in the ongoing New Patriotic Party polling station elections. His comments come against the backdrop of growing tensions in parts of the Ashanti region, where disputes over the party's voter album have triggered court injunctions forcing a halt to the electoral process in some constituencies. Asante Mampong, Ejiso and Bantama are among constituencies that have been embroiled in disagreement over the voter album, with some party members questioning the credibility of the register being used for the elections. Speaking in an interview with William Evans Inkum, my colleague in the Ashanti region, Dr. Ayew Afriye said the intense competition to be included in the voter album is neither surprising nor unusual in internal party contest. He insisted that Dr. Bawumia has no involvement in the ongoing dispute and has no special interest in the conduct of the polling station elections. William joins us live on the phone now. William, how many constituencies have so far been affected by court injunctions in the polling station elections, and if you can tell us the main issues behind these legal challenges?
Well, so according to Dr. Ayew Afriye, he's talking 6 constituencies, but it does appear that Ejoso has a special case because it has the sitting member of parliament directly involved. He is known to have openly supported Kennedy Ejapon, and there have been some speculation that because of his allegiance prior to the January flag bearership race, his allegiance to Kennedy Ejapon, perhaps maybe taking him through, this kind of quote-unquote political nemesis. But to Dr. Ayew Afriye, it is far from that. To him, it is a local problem that is scrambled by, the party faithful to also get into the album, and that is also causing that kind of a situation. He also cited an incident where distrust or mistrust between the current executives or some of the current executives and the MP for fear of being removed from the delegate album. They are also trying every possible means to also retain their position as far as the electoral college of the ruling New Patriotic Party and at the constituency level is concerned. So to him, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has nothing to do with the current happenings within the party, and it's something that people should jettison.
Thank you very much, William Evans Inkum. He is with our Ashanti regional team. Let's listen to Dr. Ayew Afriye, exactly what he said.
First of all, in anticipation for what was ahead, anytime you go for elections, it's likely somebody will win, somebody will lose, and develop all this hate. So we encourage the constituencies to retain as much as possible those old party agents, to retain them, and then also the newly created positions to look at the people who helped them in the campaign and they can vote on. So if that principle is applied, the majority of people are retained. The elections will be few, and so we expect the acrimony to be reduced, to an extent. So that's largely the rule in Ashanti region. Yes, we encourage them to do that, but that is at the discretion of the constituency, and local factors at play.
And I have Dr. Afriye Ayew. He's Middle Belt campaign coordinator for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, former vice president. Now, as Ghana prepares for the World Cup 2026 in Mexico, Canada, and the United States of America, a cross-section of Ghanaians have already raised concerns with aspects of the team's arrangement. My colleague Mutala Yakubu is with our sports desk. He joins us live in the studio now. Mutala, first of all, do we know the full complement of the team?
We are told that 28 players are in camp, but there is a huge concern coming out because one player has not been able to train at all. Alexander Jiku, on the 24th of May, that is last week, Sunday. He was playing a game for his club, Spartak Moscow. It was a Russian Cup game against Krasnodar. Around the 44th minute mark, he picked up a knock, was substituted, and we are being told that after several assessments, if we are not lucky as a nation, then Alexander Jiku may also not be able to play at the World Cup.
Is he that critical to our team?
Very critical.
Why?
Salisu
so?
out injured at the moment. He's the most experienced centre back we have. And to have two of your most experienced centre backs not being part of your squad is a huge concern. So we are racing against time. We are praying, as we always do as a nation, to ensure that he is fit in time to play the World Cup. Maybe, I mean, after the assessment, doctors could say maybe he will miss the first 2 games and play the last game. But it all depends on what Carlos Queiroz, the head coach, wants. But we are being told that today we will find out the 26 players who would be representing the nation.
Okay, so as of now, we don't know the names yet.
No, not yet. Yeah.
One of the things dominating conversations, though, is how much is involved. Tell us exactly.
Okay, so the appearance fee is monies that are paid to players as part of as a form of compensation, because you're moving them away from their clubs, their business activities for a period. So it's not just exclusive to Ghana. Every nation does it, and it depends on the amount of money. Every nation has the right to decide the amount of money they will be given. Now, it started really properly around 2006 under President Kufuor. The Black Stars were given between $60,000 to $80,000. Then in 2010, it was $100,000. 2014, remember the famous $3 million that was flown to Brazil? Every player got to $100,000. Since then, it's been the statutory amount that has been given to players. And the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Kofi Adams, says that they are not going to touch the amounts, irrespective of how the dollar has strengthened or how the CD has strengthened against the dollar. It still remains $100,000. But this time, the exclusive thing with the appearance fee is that the management committee members will not be getting the 100,000 appearance fee, unlike 2022, where we had every single management member getting part of that $100,000.
Isn't that why we are having the inquiry?
Yes, that is why it came. So now we are being told that an amount of around $450,000 has been allocated for the management committee member. They are about 6 in all. If you share, one person will get around $60,000. This time
that's still not bad.
Yes, but this time they are not getting. It's not an appearance fee for them. It's for the work that they will be doing on the team
for the entire
game period. From the time the Black Stars start camp up to the time they exit the tournament, or they get to finish the tournament. But for the players, each person is earning 100,000 as appearance fee.
They will get all of that?
Of course.
All right. Now, before you go, very briefly, tomorrow we have a game with Wales.
Against Wales, and it will be Carlos Queiroz' first game.
Indeed.
It's an important one, even though it's a friendly game. In recent time, Ghana has not done well with the friendly games, and it's one of the reasons why we are going into the 2026 World Cup as one of the least ranked teams in the world, because we've lost a lot of games in friendly matches, and it's not helped us. And it's also an exercise that will give Carlos Queiroz an idea of the tools or the quality that he will be working with. This is a game he cannot joke with, because if he wins this game, he inspires a lot of confidence ahead of the World Cup. If he loses the game,
his first game, he can't try that.
Yeah, but it becomes depressing a bit. So he knows the importance of this game.
And we're streaming it live tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
on
it'll be live on TV3. The game is around 6:45. We'll be doing it, and there will be live commentary on 3FM as well. We have it all covered. As it stands, the general manager for sports at Media General, Michael Otieje, is in Cardiff at the Black Stars Hotel. So everyone should go on our handles, our social media handles, our 3 Sports GH. We have live update from the Black Stars camp.
I look forward to that. I haven't watched the Black Stars live in a while. I probably will try tomorrow.
Sure, you have
Thank you very much, Murtala Yakubu. And Murtala is with our sports desk. Before we go, there is a travel advisory issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs concerning the xenophobic attacks in South Africa, asking Ghanaians to be careful. If you want more details of that, you can go to 3news.com for more. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us on the Midday News today on 3FM 92.7. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Good afternoon.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, President John Mahama declares Ghana's shift from raw material exports to high-value production hub in agriculture and manufacturing. Also, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Esiama announces reforms for Cocoa Board to issue commercial paper and leverage capital markets under new financing regime.
Urgent call for government to pass the Mining Revenue Management Act.
Why do we struggle to raise 4 billion cedis when there's 100 billion sitting in pension funds? So I told them it's about structuring it well. So that issue should be addressed very soon.
Plus, Chamber of Mines demands law to direct 30% of mining revenues to host communities.
I reiterate the urgent call for government to pass the Mining Revenue Management Act that directs that at least 30% of royalties and other mineral revenues come directly into the host communities.
Details of these and more lined up for you. I am Michael Obodu. Do stay tuned. Thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story. And President John Dramani Mahama says the country is done exporting raw materials and is now positioning itself as a production hub, challenging British and international investors to come in at the ground level of an economy deliberately moving up the value chain. Speaking at the Ghana-UK Investment Summit currently underway in London, UK, President John Mahama outlined an ambitious industrial agenda anchored on two sectors he says offer the most immediate and scalable opportunities for foreign investors, that is agriculture and manufacturing.
We're establishing agro-industrial enclaves across the country, improving irrigation systems, supporting commercial farming, and expanding food processing and agricultural export. The opportunities in cocoa processing, oil palm, cashew, shea, horticulture, poultry, rice production, fisheries, and cold chain logistics are extensive. For investors seeking scalable agricultural opportunities linked to regional and global markets, Ghana offers both the demand and the strategic location for such production. In manufacturing and industrialization, we are prioritizing value addition. Rather than exporting raw materials, Ghana is positioning itself higher within the global value chains. This applies particularly to cocoa, gold, lithium, bauxite, manganese, critical minerals, pharmaceuticals, textiles, automotive assembly, and petrochemicals. Our objective is simple. Ghana must become a production hub, not merely a source of raw commodities.
President John Dramani Mahama speaking there now. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, says government is working on a new regime for financing of the Ghana Cocoa Board, indicating that proper structures will be put in place to ensure that works well. Speaking at the Ghana-UK Investment Summit in London today, the governor said part of the reforms will help Cocoa Board to issue commercial paper and reduce inherent risk, adding that there's also extra option to rely on the capital market.
Financing for Cocoa Board. I know there are plans to introduce some new regimes. The minister is working hard on that. But yesterday I had a discussion with them. They should be able to issue commercial paper, so instead of just going to borrow from a bank, because there's a limit to how much you can take from a bank. We link it to the amount of capital that the bank has. So if the amount, the ratio will go, above the regulatory levels, then that loan cannot happen. So there are constraints. But a good part is they can issue commercial paper. The question is, if it is secure, if the facility is well structured. Why do we struggle to raise 4 billion cedis when there's 100 billion sitting in pension funds? So I told them it's about structuring it well. So that issue should be addressed very soon, but it shouldn't be a sole dependence on the banks. We should use the capital market, right? Because the funds are there. now that treasury bills have gone down, people are looking for where to place their investment. So it's all about structuring. And I'm working with Cocoa Board together with the minister to put together some commercial paper. I'm sure within the next 1 week or two, that problem will be addressed.
That was Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, speaking. Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe, is calling on government to pass a dedicated Mining Revenue Management Act. The proposed legislation would legally mandate that at least 30% of mineral royalties and other state mining revenues are channeled directly back to mining host communities to fund strategic development projects. Dr. Ashigbe emphasized that a transparent legislative framework is necessary to ensure that areas impacted by extraction receive tangible economic benefits.
We cannot do it alone. That is why I reiterate the urgent call for government to pass the Mining Revenue Management Act that directs that at least 30% of royalties and other mineral revenues come directly into the host communities to develop strategic projects in these communities. It should not go into distant bureaucracies, not into opaque accounts. These funds should be invested strategically to grow Ghanaian participation across the entire value chain.
Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, speaking. Now, the continuous local currency depreciation and shifting international commodity trends are the direct catalyst driving up domestic petroleum costs for the first pricing window of June 2026. And that's according to the Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, SEMSE, Benjamin Insia. He also attributed the fuel price hikes to a removal of domestic government industry pricing support on petrol, even as global crude oil benchmarks slightly softened in late May. We'll bring you more stories now, and the government of Ghana experienced its second consecutive week of undersubscription on the domestic market on May 29, 2026, failing to meet its short-term funding target as investor appetite remained muted. There is more in this report.
Seeking to borrow 5.892 billion cedis through its standard three-tenor treasury bill auction, government received total bids of 4.916 billion cedis from investors. Of the offered amount, the state accepted 4.866 billion cedis. This follows a rare undersubscription the previous week on May 22, 2026, where government fell short of its 4.486 billion cedis target by 264.86 million cedis. At 5.90% deficit, the consecutive measures signal a tightening environment for the state's short-term domestic borrowing needs. For the 91-day bill, investors offered 3.368 billion cedis, with government taking 3.362 billion cedis at a yield of 4.99%. The 182-day bill received bids amounting to 749.67 million cedis, while government accepted 705.65 million cedis at an interest rate of 4.04%. The 356-day bill got 797.98 million cedis in bids, and government took 797.98 million cedis at a yield of 10.45%, while investors offered a subscription rate of 83.45%, leaving a 16.55% bid deficit. Government chose to drop some bids, predominantly in the 182-day tenor. This resulted in a final funding shortfall of 1.025 billion cedis, meaning government successfully secured only 82.60% of its intended target, a 17.40% undersubscription.
And that's how we end today's edition of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, please check out our website at 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for tuning in. As always, please stay safe.